Hello, thanks for joining me for part 2 of my 5-part On My Family Tree series. This one is called My Mother's Limbs. I gave it that name because my mother's arms used to hold me so tight. Like I said in part 1, I know that I have missed someone or something. Again, I apologize in advance. As I mentioned in my first segment, the earliest verifiable written records of my family history suggests that Fanny Evans was born in the 1780s. One of her offspring was Drury Evans, born right around 1807 in Prince Edward County, Virginia. I don't have any photos of Drury, but this photo of one of his sons, John William Evans, may provide an idea of what Drury looked like as a young man. Drury, like his mother, a mulatto, meaning of mixed ethnicities, became a farm laborer, a carpenter, and married Elizabeth Betsy Bowman. Drury and Elizabeth Evans had at least 5 children together. One of their sons was John's brother, Dennis Samuel Evans, my great-great-grandfather. He was born March 9, 1852, in Halifax County. Dennis Evans became a carpenter and a farm owner. Dennis Evans built at least 2 houses, both of which I have visited in my travels to Halifax. In 1878, he married Melinda Daniel, daughter of Martha and Hilary Daniel. Dennis and Melinda had 8 children, several that married into other mulatto families in the county, including the Daniels, the James, the Pounds, the Waltons, the Longs, and others. Their first child was a girl, Melissa Ann Evans, born May 18, 1879. At some point near the turn of the 20th century, she married John Thomas Hughes. John was the oldest of 12 children, born on March 3, 1877, to George and Emma Hughes. And George was the son of William Hughes. Unlike my relatives on the Evans line, who were reportedly always free, George was born a slave in 1853 in Birch Creek, Halifax County. As was the custom in the antebellum South, he took his surname from his owner, Woodson Hughes. On April 14, 1907, presumably in Halifax County, a girl was born to John and Melissa Hughes. She was their only child. Her name was Edmonia Verona Hughes, and she was my grandmother. Based on my research, she may have been named for her mother's late sister, Edmonia V. Evans, who died at 3 years old, about 4 years before my grandmother was born. Edmonia's mother, Melissa, passed away in November of 1911. Edmonia, 4 years old at the time, went to live with her grandparents, Dennis and Melinda Evans. 2 of her mother's sisters, Edmonia's Aunt Rosa and Aunt Margaret, also helped raise her. Edmonia attended Virginia Normal and Industrial Institute, along with her future husband, my grandfather, Joseph Grant Bowman. They eloped in nearby Roxboro, North Carolina, December 28, 1927. Joseph Grant Bowman was born November 16, 1905, in Crystal Hill, Halifax County, Virginia. He was the second son and second of 9 children born to John Henry and Frencha Dennis Bowman. John Henry Bowman was born in 1876 in Halifax. I have no other reliable written verification on who his parents were, other than what was written on his 1898 wedding certificate, where he listed his mother as Adeline and his father as Dr. Bulmer. Nanny Frencha Dennis was one of 8 children born to Dandridge and Nanny Dennis in 1882. Dandridge Dennis was born in about 1835 and was listed as a farmer in the 1880 census. John Henry Bowman became a farmer and a merchant in Halifax, owning a gas station and a general store. My grandmother and grandfather told me quite a bit about their youth. However, my grandfather went into considerably more detail with me. He attended Halifax County Training School and graduated from Virginia Normal and Industrial Institute in 1927 with an emphasis in auto mechanics. He told me the order he and his siblings were born so often that I memorized it as a boy. Between the years 1903 and 1922, they were John Douglas, Joseph Grant, Nanny Fredonia, Mary Elsie, Conway Holland, Bessie Daisy, Vera Louise, James Arthur, and Eflin Gladys Bowman. Number 6, my great-aunt Bessie survives. Not long after my grandparents got married in 1927, Grant and Edmonia Bowman left Virginia for New York at my grandmother's urging. They worked for a retired general and his wife as a domestic and butler in Scarsdale. On September 1st, 1930, their only child, Barbara Ann Bowman, my mother, was born in Bronxville, New York. She spent part of her youth in Virginia on her grandparents' farm, later returning to New York. And in 1941, my grandparents and my mother left New York for Sierra Madre, California. My mother, Barbara Ann Bowman, attended middle school in Sierra Madre, Monrovia Arcadia Duarte High School, and John Muir Junior College in Pasadena. She was a gifted pianist and graduated from Occidental College June 9, 1952. She and 2 other students were the first 3 African Americans to graduate from Oxy. 2 years before, in 1950, she had met my father, Howard W. Wright, at Friendship Baptist Church in Pasadena. And 1 week after her college graduation, she and my father were married on June 14, 1952. This concludes number 2 of my 5-part Family Tree series. Please join me for part 3, My Father's Big Limbs, coming up next.